Ludwig III was the last King of Bavaria, reigning from 1913 to 1918. Early life. Ludwig was born in Munich, the eldest son of Prince Luitpold of Bavaria and of his wife, Archduchess Augusta of Austria. He was a descendant of both Louis XIV of France and William the Conqueror. Hailing from Florence, Augusta always spoke in Italian to her 4 children. Ludwig was named after his grandfather King Ludwig I of Bavaria. Ludwig spent his first years living in the electoral rooms of the Munich residence and in the Wittelsbacher Palace. From 1852 to 1863, he was tutored by Ferdinand von Malayer. When he was 10 years old, the family moved to the Lichtenberg Palace. In 1861, at the age of 16, Ludwig began his military career when his uncle, King Maximilian II of Bavaria, gave him a commission as a lieutenant in the 6th Jaeger Battalion. A year later, he entered the Ludwig Maximilians University of Munich, where he studied law and economics. When he was 18, he automatically became a member of the Senate of the Bavarian legislature as a prince of the royal house. In 1866, Bavaria was allied with the Austrian Empire in the Austro-Prussian War. Ludwig held the rank of Oberleutnant. He was wounded at the Battle of Helmstedt, taking a bullet in his thigh. He received the Knight's Cross First Class of the Bavarian Military Merit Order Marriage and Children. In June 1867, Ludwig visited Vienna to attend the funeral of his cousin Archduchess Matilda of Austria. While there, Ludwig met Matilda's 18-year-old step-cousin Maria Theresia, Archduchess of Austria-Est. On the 20th of February 1868, at St. Augustine's Church in Vienna, Ludwig married Maria Theresa. She was the only daughter of the late Archduke Ferdinand Karl Victor of Austria-Est and of his wife Archduchess Elizabeth Franziska of Austria. Until 1862, Ludwig's uncle had reigned as King Otto I of Greece. Although Otto had been deposed, Ludwig was still in line of succession to the Greek throne. Had he ever succeeded, this would have required that he renounce his Roman Catholic faith and become Greek Orthodox. Maria Theresa's uncle, Duke Francis V of Modena, was a staunch Roman Catholic. He required that as part of the marriage agreement Ludwig renounce his rights to the throne of Greece, and so ensure that his children would be raised Roman Catholic. In addition, the 1843 Greek constitution forbade the Greek sovereign to be simultaneously ruler of another country. Consequently, Ludwig's younger brother Leopold technically succeeded upon the father's death to the rights of the deposed Otto I, King of Greece. By his marriage, Ludwig became a wealthy man. Maria Theresa had inherited large properties from her father. She owned the estate of Sava in Hungary and the estate of Ioannowitz in Moravia. The income from these estates enabled Ludwig to purchase an estate at Leuchtenstein in Bavaria. Over the years, Ludwig expanded the Leuchtenstein estate until it became one of the largest and most profitable in Bavaria. Ludwig was sometimes derided as Müllbauer due to his interest in agriculture and farming. Although they maintained a residence in Munich at the Lichtenberg Palace, Ludwig and Maria Theresa lived mostly at Leuchtenstein. They had an extremely happy and devoted marriage which resulted in 13 children. Ruprecht, Crown Prince of Bavaria. Adelgund, Princess of Bavaria, married Prince Wilhelm of Hohenzollern-Sigmaringen. Maria Ludwiga, Princess of Bavaria, married Ferdinando, Prince of the Two Sicilies, Duke of Calabria and had issue. Karl, Prince of Bavaria. Franz, Prince of Bavaria, married Princess Isabella Antony of Croy and had issue. Matilda, Princess of Bavaria, married Ludwig Gaston Clemens Maria, Prince of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. Wolfgang, Prince of Bavaria. Hildegard, Princess of Bavaria. Notburger, Princess of Bavaria. Wiltrud, Princess of Bavaria, married Wilhelm, Duke of Urach. Helmtrud, Princess of Bavaria. Dietlind, Princess of Bavaria. Gunderlind, Princess of Bavaria, married Johann Georg Count von Preysing-Lichtenegg-Meuse, and had issue. Her grandson Count Ripron von Arco-Zinneberg married 1980 at Chartres, the elder daughter of Robert, Archduke of Austria-Est. On the death of her uncle Francis in 1875, Maria Theresa became heir to his Jacobite claim to the thrones of England and Scotland, and is called either Queen Mary IV and III or Queen Mary III by Jacobites. Throughout his life, Ludwig took a great interest in agriculture. From 1868, he was the honorary president of the Central Committee of the Bavarian Agricultural Society. He was also very interested in technology, particularly water power. In 1891, at his initiation, the Bavarian Canal Society was established. As a prince of the royal house, he was automatically a member of the Senate of the Bavarian legislature. He was a great supporter of the direct right to vote. Regent of Bavaria. On 12 December 1912, Ludwig's father Luitpold died. Luitpold had been an active participant in the deposition of his nephew, King Ludwig II, and had also acted as Prince Regent for his other nephew, King Otto. Although Otto had nominally been king since 1886, he had been under medical supervision since 1883, and it had long been understood that he would never be mentally capable of actively reigning. Ludwig immediately succeeded his father as regent. Almost immediately, certain elements in the press and other groups in society called for Ludwig to take the throne himself. The Bavarian legislature was not, however, currently in session, and did not meet until the 29th of September 1913. On 4 November 1913, the legislature amended the Constitution of Bavaria to include a clause specifying that if a regency for reasons of incapacity had lasted for 10 years with no prospect of the king ever being able to reign, the regent could proclaim the end of the regency and assume the crown himself, with such action to be ratified by the legislature. The amendment received broad party support in the lower chamber, where it was carried by a vote of 122 in favor and 27 against. In the Senate there were only 6 votes against the amendment. The next day, the 5th of November 1913, Ludwig announced that he had ended the regency and deposed Otto, and was now king in his own right. The legislature duly ratified this action, and Ludwig took his oath on the 8th of November. The constitutional amendment of 1913 brought a determining break in the continuity of the king's rule in the opinion of historians, particularly as this change had been granted by the Landtag as a House of Representatives. Historians believe this marked a definitive step from constitutional monarchy to parliamentary monarchy. Bavaria had already taken a step toward full parliamentary government a year earlier, when Georg von Hertling headed the first government that depended on a majority in the legislature. King of Bavaria, Ludwig's short reign was conservative and influenced by the Catholic encyclical Rerum Novarum. Prime Minister Georg von Hertling, appointed by Luitpold in 1912, remained in office. At the outbreak of World War I in 1914, Ludwig sent an official dispatch to Berlin to express Bavaria's solidarity. Later, Ludwig even claimed annexations for Bavaria. His hidden agenda was to maintain the balance of power between Prussia and Bavaria within the German Empire after a victory. A popularly accepted account holds that, a day or two after Germany's declaration of war, Ludwig received a petition from a 25-year-old Austrian, asking for permission to join the Bavarian army. The petition was promptly granted, and Adolf Hitler thereupon joined the Bavarian army. eventually settling into the 16th Reserve Bavarian Infantry Regiment, where he served the remainder of the war. In 1917, when Germany's situation had gradually worsened due to World War I, Hertling became German Chancellor and Prime Minister of Prussia, and Otto Ritter von Dandel was made Minister of State of the Royal Household and of the Exterior and President of the Council of Ministers on the 11th of November 1917, a title equivalent to Prime Minister of Bavaria. Accused of showing blind loyalty to Prussia, Ludwig became increasingly unpopular during the war. As the war drew to a close, the German Revolution broke out in Bavaria. On the 7th of November 1918, Ludwig fled from the residence palace in Munich with his family and took up residence in Schloss Anif, near Salzburg, for what he hoped would be a temporary stay. He was the first of the monarchs in the German Empire to be deposed. On the 12th of November 1918, a day after the armistice, Prime Minister Dandel went to Schloss Anif to see the king. Ludwig gave Dandel the Anif Declaration, in which he released all government officials, soldiers and civil officers from their oath of loyalty to him. He also stated that the situation made it impossible to continue my rule, though he did not formally abdicate as Dandel demanded. The declaration was published by the newly formed Republican government of Kurt Eisner when Dandel returned to Munich the next day. Eisner interpreted it as a statement of abdication and declared the Wittelsbachs deposed, ending 700 years of Wittelsbacher rule over Bavaria. In exile, Ludwig III returned to Bavaria. His consort Maria Theresia died 3 February 1919 at Wildenwood Castle, Chiemgau. In February 1919, Eisner was assassinated. Fearing that he might be the victim of a counter-assassination, Ludwig fled to Hungary, later moving on to Liechtenstein and Switzerland. He returned to Bavaria in April 1920 and lived at Wildenwood Castle again. There he remained until September 1921, when he took a trip to his castle Nadezhdy in Sava in Hungary. He died there on the 18th of October. On the 5th of November 1921, Ludwig's body was returned to Munich together with that of his wife. In spite of fears a state funeral might spark a move to restore the monarchy, the pair were honored with one in front of the royal family, Bavarian government, military personnel, and an estimated 100,000 spectators. Burial was in the crypt of the Munich Frauenkirche alongside the royal ancestors. Prince Ruprecht did not wish to use the occasion of the passing of his father to re-establish the monarchy by force, preferring to do so by legal means. Cardinal Michael von Foraber, Archbishop of Munich, in his funeral speech, made a clear commitment to the monarchy, while Ruprecht only declared that he had stepped into his birthright. Styles. The 7th of January 1845 to 12 December 1912, His Royal Highness Prince Ludwig of Bavaria. The 12th of December 1912 to 5 November 1913, His Royal Highness the Prince Regent of Bavaria. The 5th of November 1913 to 13 November 1918, His Majesty the King of Bavaria. The 13th of November 1918 to 18 October 1921, His Majesty King Ludwig III of Bavaria. Ancestry.